You're listening to the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network, home of the #1 sports talk show on the planet.
This is Sports Talk with Hot Sauce, Texas Pete Hot Sauce, the Doug Stewart Show.
Broadcasting live Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern Time, exclusively on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network. Follow Stewart Media and Entertainment right now on Facebook and stay connected and locked in for upcoming events like the Couples and Cocktails series, viewing parties, and much, much more. Up next, The Doug Stewart Show, Sports Talk with Hot Sauce.
Yeah!
Exclusively on the Stewart Media and Entertainment Network.
Attention Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. Current prices average between $25 and $35 per pill. Are you searching for an alternative to the high prices you now pay for brand name drugs? We're providing U.S. consumers a low-cost alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for $99 with incredibly fast shipping times. Our phone staff is available right now. And did we mention that shipping is free? Call right now to take advantage of this special offer. 855-781-3847. With discreet home delivery and 100% satisfaction guarantee. What are you waiting for? Call for an affordable alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for only $99. Call 855-781-3847. Speak to a rep about getting a discreet shipment to your home and start saving a ton of money. Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. You can't afford to not call 855-781-3847.
System 5 Electronics is proud to offer my listeners in the Atlanta area the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for your busy lifestyle for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's just a few reasons to choose System 5. Not only is their monitoring station located here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this, you own your security alarm system once it's installed. Not only have they been around for almost 25 years, but their customer service is excellent. And you get direct access to the owner, Mr. Maceo Brown, to resolve any issues with your alarm system. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736. And make sure and tell them the Doug Stewart Show sent you. Yes!
The blind stares of a million pairs of eyes, looking hard but won't realize that they will never see.
The puppetry must stop. We are for real around here. The trillest sports talk show in America. The Doug Stewart Show. Yes!
Five, four, three, two, one.
What's happening? This is the Doug Stewart Show. Thank you so much for joining your folk. Yes, 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 yes. It's a Throwback Thursday. And we got a packed show for you today. Like today is going to be one of the real fun shows on the Doug Stewart Show. So thank you so much for joining your boy. You can email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. You can give me a call at 404-382-0338. And, a lot of stuff to get into, man. Thank you so much for joining you, folk. Yes, sir. So let me kind of give you a little rundown of what we got going on today, a little itinerary/schedule. All right, so I sent out a tweet early this morning. Today I have confirmed my little brother Ryan Evan is coming on the show today. You know, he's so damn busy that we can't get him on. So today he made a little time for Big Brother. So we're going to catch up with Ryan Evan Stewart, my brother, a little bit later in today's show, so stay tuned for that. We're also going to talk about Wrastlers. Oh, yeah, shouts out, and I didn't do this yesterday, and I feel bad about it because it's kind of like a tradition. Shouts out to the great Ric Flair. His birthday was yesterday. Yeah, shouts out to the Nature Boy, man. The Nature Boy's birthday was yesterday, so today, and I said it earlier, we're going to have a lot of fun today. Today, this is like something near and dear to my heart, is the sport of wrestling, and I did say wrestling. I didn't say wrestling. I said wrestling. The sport of wrestling is very near and dear to my heart, so today, and we always do top fives, and we have a lot of fun with top fives on the Doug Stewart Show. Today, something that's just big, and I think for a lot of our listeners, a lot of the people that grew up in my area, because most of the people that listen to this show, they're kind of in my demo because I talk about things that you remember and that you reminisce about. So we're going to take it back, man. Your top 5 wrestlers of all times. Yes, sir. Oh, man. Yeah. Now, let me just throw this out there right now, as I have to do all the time whenever we do these top 5s. These are my 5 favorite wrestlers of all times. Now, some of the variables that I used in picking this list are how big of a name they were, how cool they were, how excited I was to see them, and a big factor and a big component to my list of top 5 wrestlers of all time is how good of an interview did they do. How good of an ish talker were there? That's my top 5 wrestlers of all times. Yes, sir. But you can give me yours as well on the Doug Stewart Show. And here's what you need to do. And every single day we got a lot of new listeners. We're doing a lot of new marketing. So every day we pick up new listeners. And bottom line is this is the Doug Stewart Show. One half of the 2 Live Stews. But it's the 2 Live Stews, but it's just me. Okay, it's me. It's the same thing though. The same ish talking, the same keeping it real, the same fun as we used to have on the 2 Live Stews. So today you getting some of that with this wrestling conversation. You're going to get my little brother a little bit later today. He's going to grace us. We haven't had him on in a couple of months, and so that's going to be real cool to have him on today as well. I got an interview, all right, and if you know me and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, you already know who my number 1 wrestler is of all time. I mean, hell, his birthday was yesterday. So we'll talk about him more in depth a little bit later. But today I'm going to play you one of the greatest interviews that Ric Flair did as a young Ric Flair. We're talking, I think this interview is 1988. Okay? So I'm going to play the greatest Ric Flair interview in my opinion, of all time. I'm going to play that interview a little bit later. You definitely don't want to miss that, so stay tuned for that. What else are we going to do? A lot of little sports stories out there. Kentucky basketball, Chicago Bulls go down, no Derrick Rose, Rondo talk, NFL cut. Still that conversation out there about Dez Bryant. And this thing is supposed to drop at any time. So we're gonna talk about that, some new developments with that. If you're a Cowboy fan, I mean, this thing is supposed to be bad, but once again, I don't know. I mean, I think this might just be one of those internet hoax things because this is 2015, and breaking news on a video that's Ray Rice-like, that's even worse than what Ray Rice did to his girlfriend at the time, Janae. I don't know how that could be suppressed. I don't know because, once again, TMZ, they dole out big money for stuff like that. So I'm hoping that this stuff isn't true about Dez, but we keep hearing it. We keep hearing these little rumblings, and that's why the Cowboys are kind of taking their time and giving him a new deal, and that's why they might put the franchise tag on him, and that's why this, that, and the other. I don't know. That this thing is supposed to be bad. This video, if you're new to the show or haven't heard this this conversation, supposedly there's a videotape out there of Dez Bryant like beating up some chick. That's not cool. That's just not cool at all. So we're gonna talk about that a little bit later in today's show as well. All right, the number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@theDougStewartShow.com. This is CIAA weekend. Shouts out to everybody going to Charlotte for the CIAA tournament. Not going to make it this year. I'm just not going to make it this year. too busy. And I'm also interested to see how the snow is going to affect the CIAA tournament this year in Charlotte, because from what I understand, they got many inches in Charlotte, in North Carolina in particular, period. And now you know how black women are. Black women ain't going out no damn weather. They just got a perm. If they just got their hair done, they not coming out. They just not. I mean, that's a broad stroke, but you understand what I'm saying. So, boy, to be a promoter this weekend in Charlotte for the CIAA tournament, which is a fantastic event, yearly event for people that don't know the CIAA. There are teams like Johnson C. Smith, Virginia State, Virginia Union, Shaw, Elizabeth City State, some of the smaller HBCUs in the country, but they come together and play this basketball tournament in Charlotte, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal. Like, it's a big-ass party. Like, right after the Bayou Classic, maybe, I don't know, whatever else classic you can come up with, the CIAA tournament is probably right after those, like right after the Bayou Classic as far as annual historically black college events. And it's just off the chain, but I'm not going to make it this year. I went last year and got full off of the CIAA. So if you're going to Charlotte, man, be careful on them streets. Yes, sir. Be careful on them streets. So I'm looking at some of this chat already, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I'm looking at some of this chat already, and I'm reading some of the posts that I have on my Facebook page and the Doug Stewart Show Facebook group. And, oh, yeah, you need to join that as well, the Doug Stewart Show group on Facebook. And people are already giving their top 5 wrestlers of all time. And what I'm getting from this is that a lot of greenhorns listen to my show, because a lot of these wrestlers they're putting down, I've heard their names in passing, you know, like the John Cena's of the world, and I think the guy's name is CM Punk or whatever. My wrestling list is pretty much 1984 and below. It is. I mean, I just got to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know who half of these guys are, but that's fine. That's your list. That's your list of top 5 wrestlers of all time. That's your list. But I'm just warning you that my list is pre-1985 probably, or 1983. Yeah, man, we're going to have a lot of fun today. You can email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Give me a call at 404-382-0338. Jump in the chat. The chat room is already on fire, man. Follow the show on Spreaker.com. And then what you do is just jump in the chat room and be totally interactive, all right? When we get back from the break, man, the Atlanta Hawks get a big win last night, and still more controversy with the Dallas Mavericks. And, gotta talk about Empire. Yes! Don't go away. This is the Doug Stewart Show. First of all, thank you for listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedugstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedugstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there, all right? That's doug@thedugstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes!
Attention Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. Current prices average between $25 and $35 per pill. Are you searching for an alternative to the high prices you now pay for brand name drugs? We're providing U.S. consumers a low-cost alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for $99 with incredibly fast shipping times. Our phone staff is available right now. And did we mention that shipping is free? Call right now to take advantage of this special offer. 855-781-3847 with discreet home delivery and 100% satisfaction guarantee. What are you waiting for? Call for an affordable alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for only $99. Call 855-781-3847. Speak to a rep about getting a discreet shipment to your home and start saving a ton of money. Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. You can't afford to not call 855-781-3847.
The Doug Stewart Show. The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show. You ain't stewing? What the hell are you doing? Yeah! You promised yourself you were going to take better care of your health this year, right? Here's a great place to start with Meds from Nature. MedsFromNature.com sells homeopathic medicines for consumers looking for safe, natural, and effective alternative health products. You then say, Stu, what's homeopathy? Then I'd say it's the safe, gentle, and natural system of healing that works with your body to relieve symptoms, restore itself, and improve overall health. Meds from Nature sells the top natural medicines with no side effects, and they're also FDA regulated. Unlike supplements or herbs over the counter, they have a lower cost per dose than prescription medicines, prices lower than Whole Foods, plus use promo code SPORTS and get an extra 25% off. Shipping and handling charges kept to a minimum, then they safely pack and quickly ship the products to their customers. So, check them out at MedsFromNature.com and get your health in check for 2015. Yes! Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. And it's a Throwback Thursday. Throwback, man. We're talking a little bit of throwback wrestling. That's right. The number to the show is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. But jump on the chat line on Spreaker.com. That's what makes us the most interactive, the most fun, the most unfiltered sports talk show in America. And I read a lot of chat, man. And I really appreciate all of the chat, man. Like the listeners, the Stewies, all of the dogs, and all of the poodles. They're kind of like my co-host on this thing, man. And so I really appreciate that, man, and being totally interactive. Shouts out to my man Vince Wright, Petro, kicking it with Kissel, Griff, Rel Scott, Max Jones the third. Thank y'all so much. Yes. All right, so make sure you go to my Twitter account, at The Doug Stewart Show on Twitter, and retweet today's lucky tweet. It's your tweet where you get some Stu Magic and you get some lucky numbers. So make sure you retweet that tweet. All right, so today we're going to talk about the top 5 wrestlers of all times. It's kind of like my favorite 5 wrestlers of all times. Who's your favorite 5 wrestlers of all times? As well as talking about these sports. Shouts out to the Atlanta Hawks, man. They get a big win last night. There was a big question on whether this game was going to be played at Phillips Arena. Thrillips Arena, they're calling it. And they actually sprung a leak in the ceiling. And that's not a good thing. That's definitely not a good thing. But they get a big win over the Dallas Mavericks last night, 104-87. The Hawks now go to 45-12. The Mavericks are 39-21. The Mavs don't play with Rajon Rondo. And people sleeping on the Hawks, but the Hawks need to get back on the right track. They've had a tough last couple of weeks. And so this win last night was big. Playing at home, obviously. They got the best record against the West in the NBA at 16-4. A lot of people always talk about, well, you're doing good in the East, but what about the West? And the Hawks have held their own, to say the least, against the Western Conference teams. So the Hawks are 11-3 versus the current top 9 teams in the standings in the Western Conference. They haven't played the Suns this year, but so the Atlanta Hawks, man, hopefully the Hawks are going to kind of get back on the right track with this win last night. Once again, there was a question on whether they were going to play the game. They had no Rondo. And that Rondo thing, he was suspended last night for the game with the little blow-up that he had with Rick Carlisle, the head coach of the Dallas Mavericks. So we'll see what happens, man. And did I even talk a lot about that yesterday? I'm not sure I did. Rondo, man, I mean, just a very volatile guy. I think is supremely talented. We did talk about him a little bit. What's going to happen going forward with Rondo and this team? Because really, if you look at the numbers since he's been traded there from Boston, his production and what they thought he would bring to the team hasn't been that much. It hadn't been that significant. This is a situation where, I could see them trying to, part ways with him at some point, or maybe even send a message to the rest of the team and to the league and bench him for an extended period of time. We'll see what happens with that, but great win for the Atlanta Hawks. Speaking of basketball, yesterday we were doing our top 5 small forwards of all time, and we got to that question because what happened? Oh, LeBron James. He had passed, who we're going to talk about a little bit later today as well, but LeBron James had passed Scottie Pippen all time for assists for a small forward. So yesterday we were talking about the top 5 small forwards of all time. And my list, number 5 was Dominique Wilkins, number 4, Scottie Pippen, number 3, Julius Erving, number 2, Larry Bird, and number 1, LeBron James. But I didn't get a chance, or I forgot to go over my honorable mentions. So quickly, let me throw those names out. I compile a damn list, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you it. But I had James Worthy, honorable mention, Adrian Dantley, Jamal Wilkes. Jamal Wilkes is old school Lakers. A lot of young people don't know who the hell Jamal Wilkes was. Had the craziest shooting style ever from the free throw line. Shooting period. Number 52. He's the old school Lakers. I love Jamal Wilkes. Mark Aguirre, obviously a beast. Carmelo, he's probably the youngest guy I got on my list. And I also got Kevin Durant as well. Old school Chris Mullin, Alex English, and the great Bernard King. Those are my honorable mentions. And Bernard King. We talked a lot yesterday about Derrick Rose and the injury that he sustained the other night, and has to have this surgery to repair or replace his meniscus. But you talking about guys, we should do that one day. A list of top 5 athletes whose careers were cut short by injuries, or whose greatness was kind of halted by injury. Bernard King falls into that category, man. I mean, just a pure scorer. Just unbelievable skills, but his knees was raggedy. Yeah, I'm with you, studio audience. Raggedy knees. And so Bernard King makes my list of honorable mention small forwards of all times. All right, the number is 404-382-0338. But I mentioned it at the top of the show. Yesterday was the Nature Boy Ric Flair's birthday. Happy birthday to the greatest of all times. And so today, kind of in honor of that, kind of like a throwback theme on a Throwback Thursday. And this is real guy talk. And we always talk about how the show is sports, but I mean, a lot of it's guy talk. Okay, a lot of it's guy talk. So I got a top 5 list of favorite wrestlers of all time. Coming in at number 5 on my list is the great Tony Atlas. Now, let me give you a little bit of explanation on why I got Tony Atlas at number 5. And I think some of the reasons are kind of obvious. The great Tony Atlas was the most prominent black wrestler of the late 1970s. Early 1980s, out there. But you kind of get the feeling, if you're a wrestling fan, you kind of get the feeling of the demo that these wrestling alliances are going for. And Tony Atlas, I do believe, because of his race, wasn't featured as much. And, this thing is all scripted anyway. It's a big soap opera for men. And so Tony Atlas never really got to the level of promotion that a lot of these other guys on my list did. And so, once again, the fanfare surrounding them and their star never really got that bright. There's no black wrestler from the late 70s, early 80s who was like a superstar. Tony Atlas was big because he was like the only black wrestler, and then he was like ripped to death. Like, Tony Atlas was probably on performance-enhancing drugs before it became prominent. before it became popular. He was like one of the first ones. This dude had some huge guns. He was cool. He used to do this little strut. You remember Tony Atlas used to come out to the ring, and he used to do this little thing kind of like Ravishing Rick Rude, where he'd kind of like spin his stomach around. So Tony Atlas, man, he wasn't the biggest name, but he was cool as hell to me. And I think it's a great honor that he falls in at number 5 on the list of top 5 favorite wrestlers of all times. The great Tony Atlas. Is Tony Atlas still living? Is he still around? Because you know wrestlers, man. I mean, wrestlers, they kick the bucket real fast. I guess that lifestyle that they live is just hard on a dude. It's hard on a player being a wrestler. So Tony Atlas, born April 23rd, 1954. And yes, the great Tony Atlas is still around. Oh, my gosh. Wait a minute. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. So I just pulled up Tony Atlas's Wikipedia page, right? And they got this picture of him. Now, he still looks ripped as hell, but he don't have his little teeny-weeny afro like he had back in 79. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. But he's, got on wrestling gear. And he's standing on the outside of a ring. I don't know if he's a trainer or he's a teacher or whatever. But you know how these wrestlers, they continue wrestling until they clock out. I hope Tony Atlas ain't still wrestling, man. I just hope he's not still wrestling. But shouts out to him, man. He comes in at number 5 on my list of top 5 wrestlers of all times. I'm going to read some of your chat when we get back from the break. Oh, and I forgot about it again. We're going to talk about Empire. We're also going to talk a little bit, a teeny weeny, eensy little bit about Empire. No nookie from Cookie. Oh, I love that show. All right, when we get back from the break, we'll talk about your wrestlers, and we'll also talk a little bit about Kentucky basketball, man. Is this team going to go undefeated? I think they are. We'll talk a little bit about their big win last night and what the odds are that they do go undefeated. So we'll talk a little college basketball, all right? The number is 404-382-0338. A little bit later on today's show, my little brother Ryan Evan Stewart coming on. Probably need to stop giving his government name. People hijacking your credit these days. And we're also going to play one of the greatest interviews, in my opinion, one of the greatest interviews from the Nature Boy Ric Flair. Don't go away. This is the Doug Stewart Show. First of all, thank you for listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there, all right? That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes!
Attention Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. Current prices average between $25 and $35 per pill. Are you searching for an alternative to the high prices you now pay for brand name drugs? We're providing U.S. consumers a low-cost alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for $99 with incredibly fast shipping times. Our phone staff is available right now. And did we mention that shipping is free? Call right now to take advantage of this special offer. 855-781-3847 with discreet home delivery and 100% satisfaction guarantee. What are you waiting for? Call for an affordable alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for only $99. Call 855-781-3847. Speak to a rep about getting a discreet shipment to your home and start saving a ton of money. Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. You can't afford to not call 855-781-3847.
The Doug Stewart Show. The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show. You ain't stewing? What the hell are you doing? Yeah! System 5 Electronics is proud to offer my listeners in the Atlanta area the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for your busy lifestyle for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's just a few reasons to choose System 5. Not only is their monitoring station located here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this, you own your security alarm system once it's installed. Not only have they been around for almost 25 years, but their customer service is excellent. And you get direct access to the owner, Mr. Maceo Brown, to resolve any issues with your alarm system. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736. And make sure and tell them the Doug Stewart Show sent you. Yes! Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. The realest, treeless, most unfiltered sports talk show in America. And today is a Throwback Thursday, February 26, 2015. Be careful out there on them streets. I talked about people going to the CIAA earlier, and if you're going to try to make that trek. But right here in the ATL, man, I mean, these damn kids, these damn kids are so lucky, man. See, what's going to happen from now on, whenever there's even a hint of snow or bad weather, because of what happened last year, these damn kids going to get to stay home. And so, when I came into the studio today, there was some snow on the ground. There's nothing really bad. It's not really coming down. But because there's a hint of it, my kids got to stay home today. They did. And so, I guess I kind of get it, because last year, man, was just unbelievable. And if you were in Metro Atlanta last year for, what they call it, Snowmageddon, it was just so horrible, man. I mean, it took my wife 9 hours to get home from work, which normally takes her, I think, 45 minutes. I mean, she was just like wrecked, mentally just wrecked. And so it was so bad last year, I said it looked like kind of like The Walking Dead in Atlanta. I mean, it was that scene. So, yeah, be careful out there on them streets. This segment is brought to you by System 5 Electronics. They're proud to offer my listeners in the Atlanta area the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for your busy lifestyle for as low as $16.50 per month. That's right. They've been around for over 25 years. Real solid company. I only work with solid companies. I mean, it's as simple as that. And so if you want to check them out, give them a call or check them out online at System5electronicsinc.com. Once again, that's System5electronicsinc.com. And here's the big thing. I mean, here's the huge thing. If you ever got an issue with your security alarm system, ask to speak to the owner, Mr. Maceo Brown. Yes, sir. I mean, one of the coolest. I mean, Maceo like an old school player. I mean, one of the coolest dudes ever. But this company is so solid, and if you tell them that the Doug Stewart Show sent you, if you ever got an issue, you can talk to the owner, Mr. Maceo Brown. All right, 404-382-0338, talking about our top 5 wrestlers of all times. So I was looking at this Tony Atlas bio on Wikipedia. He's listed as an American bodybuilder, powerlifter, and professional wrestler. Now, this picture I'm looking at, and right now he's 60 years of age. The great Tony Atlas, number 5 on my list of top 5 wrestlers of all time. He's known by his bodybuilding title, Mr. USA, or the Black Superman. And I'm telling you, this picture looked like Tony Atlas could still whip some ass. And I don't remember this. He also had an alter ego named Saba Simba. What? Oh, my gosh. That's some old bootleg wrestling, culturally biased stuff. Why the man got to have a name like Saba Simba? Every black person ain't from Africa. That's an African name. Saba Simba. I didn't know that. He returned as an on-screen manager for WWE, appearing on his now-defunct ECW brand. And he re-signed with WWE in a Legends deal in mid-2012. So great. The great Tony Atlas is doing all right. Why the man name got to be Saba Simba? I didn't know that. But he looked like he could still whip some ass. 6'2", 250 pounds, 60 years old. His real name is the great Anthony White. Yeah, he comes in number 5 on my list. All right, so 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. If you're a company out there and you like to partner with The Doug Stewart Show, we love to partner with you. Email me at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Kentucky gets it done again last night. A huge win over Mississippi State, man, 74-56. They just blew them out. So Kentucky goes to 28-0. Let me throw this question out there for you, man. I mean, put on your prognostication hat. Do you think Kentucky's going to go undefeated? And, I mean, that's probably the biggest question in college basketball right now. We're a couple of weeks away from March Madness, the tournament getting started. And so, Kentucky right now, 28-0. They now have 3 regular season games left. And check this out. According to Basketball Power Index, they've got an 85% chance of winning the rest of their games. They've got a 74% chance of remaining unbeaten through the SEC tournament. And a 33% chance of going 40-0 and winning it all. And 40-0 would be the addition of the SEC tournament games and the tournament games as well. They would be at 40-0. Do you think they're going to do it? I mean, I tend to believe they're going to do it. I mean, I don't see any reason why, because if you've seen Kentucky play this year, they've got too much talent. Like, they've got like 9 guys are going to play in the NBA. When you talk about Cauley Stein, you talk about the Towns guy, the Harrison twins, both of them are probably going to play in the league. And some of these guys on the bench are going to play in the league. They got height, they got size, they got skill. Pretty much all of these guys that Calipari recruits are like McDonald's All-Americans. So they got the best talent in the world. Could they trip up? Yeah, but I don't think you should bet on it. Now, I just read the stats saying that they got a 33% chance of going undefeated based on stats or whatever they're putting into that equation. I don't know about that, man. I mean, if you go game by game and look at the talent that they have, I don't think you can bet against them. I just don't think you can. I don't think you can. So what are your thoughts on Kentucky going undefeated? And the funny thing about it, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, the funny thing about it is this Kentucky team isn't even one of the best teams that I can recall that they've had. So they've had a ton of talent over the years. When Patino was there, Tubby Smith. They've always had a ton of great talent. So many, fantastic players, too many to even mention or need to be mentioned. But this isn't even one of the most talented teams, but maybe the field is down this year. Maybe the competition isn't as good this year as it has been in the past in college basketball. And so maybe there's an opportunity for them to do it. I don't know. We'll see. But if I had to put a wager on it right now, and I don't wager a lot anymore. I just don't because I just ain't got it like that. But but if I had to put a wager down on it, man, somebody had a gun to my head and said, who or do you think that Kentucky, the Wildcats, would go undefeated this year? I would say yes. Man. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. You can also email me at Doug@thedougstewartshow.com. So we're talking about top 5 favorite wrestlers of all times. And I'm going to read some of your chat here in a minute and get your thoughts on that. But let me go ahead and tell you who my number 4 wrestler of all time is. Number 4 wrestler, and I did say wrestler, of all time is the great Wahoo McDaniels. Now, I know a lot of the Greenhorn young wrestling fans of today that are listening to the show don't remember the great Wahoo McDaniels, but he's gone to glory as well. But Wahoo McDaniels was just that. He was Wahoo McDaniels. He was an Indian, or he portrayed an Indian. I think he did have Indian blood in him. But let me just give you some perspective. In 1978, a young little black boy in the low country of South Carolina on Saturday morning, with a bowl of cereal in his tighty-whitey drawers, getting up early to watch wrestling. It was real cool to see a real Indian dude with feathers and everything, the little feather hair headpiece and all of that, kick some ass. I mean, it really was cool. And, it probably was, looking back at it, it was probably kind of stereotypical or whatever, the way they did, the same way they give the great Tony Atlas the name like Saba Simba. I mean, they used to do a lot of stereotypical things, and they still kind of do that to a degree. But you can imagine how bad it was in 78, 79. But anyway, the great Wahoo McDaniel was just fantastic. And this is kind of going into that conversation about who did I get most excited to see. Like, I got more excited to see Wahoo, to see the great Wahoo McDaniel wrestle more so than I did Tony Atlas. And so the guy that I'm going to have at number 3, I got more excited to see him more than I did Wahoo. So that's kind of like some of the thinking that went into my list. But if you're an old school wrestling fan, I'm talking NWA, and that's something else you'll see about my list. I don't really have a lot of WCW guys on my list. I mean, I just don't. And you know what? WCW, or not WCW, I'm sorry, WWF, or what do they call it now? I don't even know what they call it now, but you know what I mean, the WWF. I grew up on the era of NWA, WCW, okay? And it's kind of like Marvel and DC to me, and talking about comic books. So to me, the NWA and the ECW or whatever, they're kind of like Marvel, and the WWF, whatever they're calling it now, that's kind of like DC Comics. It's not as real in my mind. It's not as real. It's more of a show. It's more about, the little storylines. And they did have storylines and all of that type of stuff going on back in the day. I mean, that's what it is. Once again, it's a big soap opera for men. But it seems like that the WWF, or WWE is what they call it now, it seems like that is it's just real theatrics. I mean, it's just a big-ass show. Not so much about the wrestling. So I'm a guy that's not going to have – I got one guy on my list from the WWE. I got one guy on my list, and that talks about his greatness, the fact that I would put him on a list with the great Tony Atlas and the great Wahoo McDaniels. Let me read some of your chat. The number is 404-382-0338. Kicking it with Cassie. He says top 5, Sting, Scott Steiner, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Goldberg, and the killer Chris Benoit. Now, I got a couple of these guys on my honorable mention list. I can tell you right now, I've got Goldberg on my honorable mention list. I've got Stone Cold on my honorable mention list. And a lot of these guys, and some of the names that some of the younger people listening to the show are going to throw at me, are people that I don't know about. I just don't know about. I got to keep it real, because I really haven't been a wrestling fan since I was 15, 16, 17 years old. So my wheelhouse is 1978 through 1982, all right? So I just got to keep it real with you. From That Ninja Doug, I haven't seen Empire yet. Had to knock out so I could get up early and shovel this ish. Tomorrow on that, please. All right, so I'm not going to tell you a lot. I'm not going to talk a lot about Empire, but it was very, very good last night. Let me just say that. Lucius is a pimp. Cookie is a pimp. And you know what? Last night, and I'm trying to be very general in my conversation, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I'm trying to be very general in my conversation because of people like my man kicking it with Petro. No, that ninja saying don't tell a lot of the details because he hadn't seen it yet. But even the young kid Jamal, he kind of grew on me a little bit last night. They made him a little bit softer and gentler last night. They did. I kind of liked him and some of his lines of what went on last night, but just real messy. Just a real messy show. And I love it. No nookie from Cookie. And y'all know something else that I noticed that Cookie does a lot too, and I'm not giving you any details, but Cookie always has, she's always arguing with Lucius, and whenever she leaves out of the room, you'll hear this in the background. Shut up, Lucius. Shut up, Lucius. Yeah, so it was real good last night, man, and that show is being heralded, man. It is getting a lot of praise from a lot of sources that you don't think it normally would, a show like that. I mean, because that show is real raunchy. is real urban. But it's getting a lot of praise, man. I think it's pretty good. I think it's well done. All right, when we get back from the break, we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL, man. Some cuts, some kind of strange, I'd call them strange cuts yesterday in the NFL. We'll kind of review a little bit of that. We'll continue talking about the top 5 or my top 5 favorite wrestlers of all time, all in honor of the Nature Boy Ric Flair, whose birthday was yesterday. And so at some point we had to do this on the show. I mean, this is guy talk. And I'm looking at my darn honorable mention list, and it's fantastic as well. So don't go away. More fun on the Doug Stewart Show. You promised yourself you were going to take better care of your health this year, right? Here's a great place to start with Meds from Nature. MedsFromNature.com sells homeopathic medicines for consumers looking for safe, natural, and effective alternative health products. You then say, Stu, what's homeopathy? Then I'd say it's the safe, gentle, and natural system of healing that works with your body to relieve symptoms, restore itself, and improve overall health. Meds from Nature sells the top natural medicines with no side effects, and they're also FDA regulated. Unlike supplements or herbs over the counter, they have a lower cost per dose than prescription medicines, prices lower than Whole Foods, plus use promo code SPORTS and get an extra 25% off. Shipping and handling charges kept to a minimum. Then they safely pack and quickly ship the products to their customers. So check them out at MedsFromNature.com and get your health in check for 2015. Yes! First of all, thank you for listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there. All right? That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com, America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show, and it's a Throwback Thursday, and very eventful day. Shouts out to all of the Stewies, all of the dogs, and all of the poodles. As I mentioned, my little brother Ryan Evan is going to come on the show today. Hadn't heard from him in a while. He's been very, very busy, so we're going to get him on today and get his thoughts about some of this stuff going in the world of sports. And knowing this guy, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Knowing this guy probably better than he knows himself, expect a couple of knock-knock jokes or something like that. Yeah, just expect something really just off the chain, just silly. Yeah, so stay tuned for that. The number is 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. make sure you create you an account for DraftKings, all right, by going to DraftKings.com, creating your account, and then using the promo code STU, all right? If you use the promo code STU, myself and DraftKings will match whatever you put in up to $600. And now for people that don't know, DraftKings is real. I mean, this is real money. It's fantasy sports, but it's real money, okay? So you put in $600, you'll be wagering and playing fantasy sports with $1,200, all on me. Just use the promotional code STU, and that's on DraftKings.com. Also, if you need tickets to anything in the world, and I mean anything in the world, hit my man Smooth at smoothtickets.com. He will take care of you. All right. Let's see what we got here. 404-382-0338. Let me read a little bit more of this chat before we get back into the sports and talking a little bit about some of these kind of out-of-nowhere cuts that happened yesterday and over the last couple of days in the NFL. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. From Corporate Brother, number 1, he has Junkyard Dog. Number 2, Ric Flair. Number 3, Cactus Jack. Number 4 is Sting. Oh, shouts out to the great Sting, man. He made my honorable mention list as well. A lot of these guys did make my honorable mention list. Dusty Rhodes at number 5, and he has honorable mention Stone Cold Steve Austin. From Griff, the Ultimate Warrior and Sting. Yeah. Kiss My Go to Hell. I'm kind of old school, but Rock and Stone Cold should make the list. Nah, they couldn't. And I know a lot of people will say, you should put Stone Cold on your list and not the great Wahoo McDaniels. But once again, it's my list. Yes. Shut up. It's my list. It's my list. It's my favorite wrestlers, top 5 wrestlers of all time. That's what I should have dubbed it. My top 5 wrestlers of all time. And you can chime in with yours if you'd like. 404-382-0338. From Kiss My Go to Hell, I'm kind of old school. I like Dusty Rhodes and Macho Man. They did give some great interviews. And also a part of why I came up with my list, or how I came up with my list, is these are guys that I thought had the best interviews of all time, okay, and talk the most ish of all time. And so you know who's at the top of that list. I mean, nobody ever did it like the great Ric Flair, okay? So that's kind of what went into me choosing my list, is how excited I was to see them, how great of an interview they gave, how much trash they talked, how big their brand was, kind of, sort of. And let me tell you this. I mentioned Wahoo McDaniels as my number 4 guy. A lot of young people probably don't know him. They don't remember his name. But when you were, in the 3rd, 4th, 5th grade, Wahoo McDaniels was kind of like a big deal. He was. Now, he's kind of one of those names that's been forgotten by history, by wrestling enthusiasts. But Wahoo McDaniels was big news on the playground, back in 77, 78. So, yeah, he definitely belongs, in my opinion, on my list. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. This segment is brought to you by Meds from Nature. Meds from Nature sells the top natural medicines with no side effects, and they're also FDA regulated, unlike supplements or herbs over the counter. So the prices are lower than Whole Foods. And if you tell them that the Doug Stewart Show sent you, you can receive an extra 25% off your order, your shipment as well. So make sure and hit them up. Put some good stuff into your body, health-wise. Check them out at medsfromnature.com. That's meds, M-E-D-S, fromnature.com. So a lot of cuts over the last couple of days where teams are clearing money off their caps. A couple of prominent names mentioned that were released, and this is kind of an interesting one. Matthias Kiwanuka, the defensive tackle from the New York Giants, was released. Peyton Hillis was also released from the Giants. A.J. Hawk was released from the Green Bay Packers, which I don't know. For some reason in my mind, I think he's got a lot left in the tank. We'll see. Maybe there's something about him that we don't know. But he was released from the Green Bay Packers. And also an interesting one, kind of, sort of, as wide receiver / kick returner Jacoby Jones. Shouts out to the Qs. He's the bruz. From making huge plays in the AFC Championship game a couple of years ago, in the Super Bowl. Should have been Super Bowl MVP in the last Super Bowl. that the Ravens won, so he was released as well. And once again, some of these guys, they probably do have a lot left in the tank, but it's all about contract and what the team's willing to dole out to them, what they're going to be able to get on the open market. So those are some prominent names that were released by NFL teams on yesterday. All right. 404-382-0338 is the number to the show. More chat here. Ed Jones, Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Dusty Rhodes, Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Shouts out to Jimmy Superfly Snuka. And Tony Atlas at number 5. If you old school wrestling, do you remember when Superfly Snuka was Jimmy, like regular guy Superfly Snuka, and not Jimmy Crazy Man Superfly Snuka? Yeah. He went through some type of transformation where he was like cool. He was like one of the good guys, you know. And in wrestling, you got good guys, and then you got heels, you know, bad guys like Roddy Piper and those guys like that. They're just troublemakers, or they'll take another angle. And they did this a lot. Once again, all of this stereotype. And they take a guy from Africa and he'd be wild or whatever. Or they'll take a guy from some other land, some island land, like they did Jimmy Superfly Snuka. Like Jimmy Superfly Snuka was like this all-American guy. And then at some point they changed his makeup and he became like some wild dude from the Fiji Islands. And I didn't like that at all, man. But Jimmy Superfly Snuka was big. I mean, big. One of the most. He's one of those guys. Just like Ricky Steamboat. Ooh, I'm really going back on your ass. Just like the great Ricky Steamboat, who was like, you know them Samoan brothers, man. They like ripped to shreds. They're just like naturally big. Never lift a weight in their life. And so it was Jimmy Superfly Snuka, and it was the great Ricky Steamboat. They were like chiseled too as well. But for some reason, you thought about them being natural. That's just eating for a lot of good, you know, foods, and their diet was great. But, yeah, those two dudes, man, were fantastic, great names from yesteryear in wrestling. 404-382-0338. Y'all love this wrestling stuff. Y'all do love this wrestling stuff. And let's be honest, man. I mean, this show was supposed to be fun. I mean, we're all kids at heart, and this is a dude show. You know what I mean? Knockdown, drag-out fights I've gotten into about wrestling. And things that happened back in the day on on NWA, and then subsequently about these new wrestlers and how they would compare against the old wrestlers. I mean, just ignoring the fact that this thing is staged. And I don't know what it is. I don't know why as men we just ignore that fact. Matter of fact, if you bring that up, I mean, we take offense to that. As guys, we take offense to you saying or insinuating that wrestling is fake. I mean, that's a little dirty little secret. Just keep that to yourself. I remember a couple of years ago, this is probably 2005 and 2006, we had on the great Abdullah the Butcher. You remember Abdullah the Butcher? Remember the interview we did with Abdullah? And on the call, and we had heard that Abdullah is one of those wrestlers, you've seen it before, where a wrestler, somebody in the media will confront them about it being fake, and then they just like some type of oath that they take, that if anybody questions wrestling and being fake or not, that you have to whip their ass as a wrestler. So we had on Abdullah, and Ryan says something to Abdullah late in the phone call about, Abdullah, first of all, Abdullah ain't, got all his marbles already. Abdullah, let's just be honest. Let's talk a little bit about how wrestling's fake. What? What did you say? What did you say? If you say that one more time, I'm going to come down there and I'm going to pull out your eyeballs and I'm going to fuck you to death. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to grab my ice pick and I'm going to kill you. I'll kill everybody in the room. And we were like, what? Yes! The great Abdullah the Butcher went stark crazy and he was threatening to kill us. And I'm going to come up there and how dare you say wrestling is fake? How dare you? And we like, this guy is crazy. So really, for the next couple of days, man, we really did have to watch our back. Because we had heard that Abdullah had come through on some of his threats on beating up people in the streets. And Abdullah the Butcher, man, he's not all the way there. Once again, he's not. He's not. But this wrestling thing is real. It's real, baby. It's real. It's not fake. It's real. It's fake sometimes, but most of the time it's real. You know what I mean. It's not fake. Wrestling's not fake. And how dare you say wrestling's fake if you say wrestling's fake? Yeah. Look at this, man. I mean, I was already gone, man, on the Doug Stewart Show. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. And I was already gone, man. When we get back from the break, it'll be hour number 2. And we'll continue to talk about our top 5 wrestlers of all times. I'll tell you who my number 3 guy is. I'll read more of your chat. And we're going to talk a little bit about the King or LeBron James. I'm not going to call him that. I kind of did just now, but I didn't mean to call him that. But we're going to talk about LeBron James. Don't go away, the Doug Stewart Show. Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com. America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play. So, you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. The Doug Stewart Show. Everybody's different, man. And this really takes you back to my number 1 question. Okay? This wouldn't even be a topic of conversation. Larry Foote and all of his other detractors, Marshawn Lynch's detractors, wouldn't even have to even make comments and give commentary like this about how he's showing kids that you don't have to respect authority. He wouldn't even have to do this. They wouldn't even have to make these politically correct statements if the press would just stop putting a microphone in front of this dude's face. There would be no reason to have a discussion, a geopolitical discussion about Marshawn Lynch and his effect on society and to kids and their thinking on authority if the media, who are all sensible people, would stop putting a microphone in front of his face.
Attention Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. Current prices average between $25 and $35 per pill. Are you searching for an alternative to the high prices you now pay for brand name drugs? We're providing U.S. consumers a low-cost alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for $99 with incredibly fast shipping times. Our phone staff is available right now. And did we mention that shipping is free? Call right now to take advantage of this special offer. 855-781-3847. With discreet home delivery and 100% satisfaction guarantee. What are you waiting for? Call for an affordable alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for only $99. Call 855-781-3847. Speak to a rep about getting a discreet shipment to your home and start saving a ton of money. Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. You can't afford to not call 855-781-3847.
If you're not stewing, what the hell are you doing? This is the Doug Stewart Show. And it's a Throwback Thursday. Thank you so much for joining your folk, man. Yeah. The fastest show on turf, the Doug Stewart Show. 404-382-0338. And you can email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. But the chat today is truly on fire. Shouts out to everybody in the chat room on Spreaker.com. Talking about the top 5 wrestlers of all times in honor of the great Ric Flair, who turned 66 years old yesterday, man. And time has not done well for Ric Flair, man. Ric Flair, And I guess because Ric Flair was all so illustrious back in the day, man, he always used to be custom made from head to toe. And so we're used to seeing, trash talking. By the way, I'm going to play the greatest Ric Flair interview ever, in my opinion, a little bit later on today's show. So stay tuned for that. And we're going to talk to Ryan Stewart, my little brother, a little bit later as well. And we're going to do that in 15 minutes. So stay tuned to that. But, yeah, it's just tough seeing your heroes. And Ric Flair can quantify as one of my heroes. I mean, I have never loved another white man as much as I love that guy, Ric Flair. I mean, Ric Flair was the man. I mean, him, Arthur Fonzarelli. I mean, guys like that, man. I love Ric Flair so much as a kid. And I told the story a while back, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. One of the greatest days of my life was in my little town of Moncks Corner, South Carolina. Ric Flair does some type of promotion, and I don't know who contracts this thing. I guess he's fighting in Charleston County Hall in Charleston. And somebody gets to him and schedules him to come to Moncks Corner and do like an autograph signing, a photo op type thing. And I don't know, I'm 11 or 12 years old, and he's going to do an appearance at our local Hardee's. This is not a lie. I swear to you, this is not a lie. So all of the little kids in town have heard about this thing. It was in our local newspaper, I guess, and we show up at this Hardee's in my hometown, and this big stretch limousine rolls up, and, it's raining. I remember it was raining. This stretch limousine rolls up, and, we're standing outside. I don't know why we were standing outside. Maybe we just wanted to catch him, first glance at him. Maybe it did move inside. I don't remember exactly. This is like 30 years ago. And so this stretch limousine rolls up, and it just parks there for a minute, and we're little kids standing around kind of like it's Elvis or it's Michael Jackson about to step out. And we're screaming, and we're going crazy. And all of a sudden, after 5 or 10 minutes later, and I guess Rick just made us wait. He came fashionably late. Like 5 or 10 minutes later, the door opens, and who steps out but the Nature Boy? And he steps out of the car, and looks around, and he has his hands up. You know how Rick used to have his hands up, the cool way that Ric Flair used to hold his hands up in the air to the sides. And he looks around, he looks to the left, he looks to the right, and he just yelps out a, "Whoa!" And we're going crazy. We're going absolutely crazy. We're going crazy, man. And so that was a fantastic thing. And I got an autograph. He signed like a napkin or whatever for me. I was one of those kids able to get an autograph. And I got one of those autographs, and I kept that autograph. And I'm not like a big autograph guy when you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. But I kept that autograph, I don't know, for probably 20 years in that little napkin. I did. Like, I lost it subsequently over the last couple of years, but I had that autograph for so long, scribbled on a little napkin from Hardee's in Moncks Corner, South Carolina, back in 1980, that was my guy. That was my guy. Like, who was your guy? Maybe we'll have a conversation about that on another day. But, yeah, man, the Nature Boy, and he's getting old, and he's looking kind of decrepit right now. Look like his health is failing. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Pray for the great Ric Flair, man. He's not flashy and all debonair and wearing $500 shades and $25,000 robes anymore. And his hair is kind of, going away. We all run into that problem as dudes. But the Nature Boy, man, is just fantastic. So we're talking about top 5 wrestlers of all day. Number 5 on my list was Tony Atlas. Number 4 was Wahoo McDaniels. And coming in at number 3, he had this quote. I've dined with kings and queens, and I've slept in alleys and dined on pork and beans. The great Dusty Rhodes. Yes, sir. Dusty Rhodes, the American dream. Man of the hour. Too sweet to be sour. And I mentioned earlier, you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I mentioned earlier how, black wrestlers back in the day, they weren't featured prominently. Let's just be real about it. And they stereotyped them a lot of times. They gave them names like Samba Simba, like they did for the great Tony Atlas. So Dusty Rhodes was kind of like the closest thing to a brother that was a big star that we had, okay? And so, yeah, absolutely love Dusty Rhodes, man. It's a fantastic interview Wasn't the greatest wrestler. I don't think Dusty never even won any belts or anything like that. But Dusty Rhodes is wrestling. All right? When you think of wrestlers, you think Dusty Rhodes, you think Blackjack Mulligan, you think Ric Flair, you think Roddy Piper, you think those guys. And Dusty Rhodes, man, is one of those guys. So he comes in at number 3 on my list of top 5 wrestlers of all times. Yes, sir. I mean, Dusty Rhodes is the coolest dude ever, man. From Real People Music, Tony Atlas, The Rock, Superfly Snuka, Abdullah the Butcher, Junkyard Dog, top 5 black wrestlers. That's a great list if we talked about top 5 black wrestlers of all time. Let me see who you got here. The Rock, Superfly, and these guys aren't all black, but yeah, I get what you're saying. From Harold Archie, I remember when Roddy Piper busted damn coconut over Superfly Snuka. See, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. That's the type of stuff that we accepted and that was accepted back during that era. They really stereotype people, man, big time, man. And, you know, back then, man, as kids, you really didn't pay attention to a lot of that stuff. You didn't know that this was politically incorrect. You know, they're naming Tony Atlas Samba Simba, and somebody slams a coconut over the head of Superfly Snuka. That wasn't cool. That wasn't cool, man. But, you know, back then as well, you know, we watched the Dukes of Hazzard, which had a lot of stereotypical things on there, a lot of racist things on there, but we didn't care. We were so much more innocent back then. We just knew that it was cool. You know, the General Lee and the Dukes of Hazzard, we didn't take one mention or didn't give one moment thought to the fact that they prominently displayed this rebel flag throughout this TV show, and they didn't have but one black person in the history of the Dukes of Hazzard on that show, which was, I can't remember his name now, but he was the sheriff of Pickens County, the next town over. We didn't pay attention that in the history of the Dukes of Hazzard, they had one black person on the show ever. We didn't care. We didn't pay attention to it. We didn't care. I mean, we didn't know the historical significance of the stereotypical statement that was being made by slamming a coconut on the top of Superfly Snuka's head. We didn't know. We didn't know, but that's the exact stuff I'm talking about. So, you know, guys like Tony Atlas, guys like Bad Leroy Brown, they didn't get they just due back then. And still, technically, I don't think that they have a bigger role in wrestling as I think they should. But, I mean, it was still cool. I mean, it was wrestling. I mean, it was. From J.B. Moore, Sting, Scorpion, Deathlock, or Bret Hart, Sharpshooter could do as much damage in the neighborhood wrestling as the Figure 4. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord, man. And parents, if you're a young parent out there, man, if you're a young parent, I don't know if any of these young wrestlers do it. And basically, the Figure 4 or the Indian Deathlock, as another wrestler used to call it. They were pretty much the same thing. But don't let your kid put another kid in that Figure 4, man. Just don't let him do it. Because you look at that lawsuit. Take it from a man who has put his brother, who's coming on in about 5 minutes, in the Figure 4 many a times. You can really break somebody's leg, man. I'm serious, man. Don't let your kids perform wrestling moves, period. Leave it to the pros. Like, if your kid talk about doing a DDT or the Figure 4 or a Brain Buster or the Cobra Clutch, anything like that, don't do it. Don't let them do it. Steer clear of wrestling moves because, yeah, technically I guess it's fake, but a lot of the moves are real as can be. They are. All right, we get back from the break, man. I'm going to have Ryan on the phone. We're going to catch up with him, see what he's got going on. Continue to read the chat. Continue to have fun on the Guy Talk Show, the Doug Stewart Show. Don't go away. This is your folk, Doug Stewart. Want to protect you and your family from life's unexpected mishaps? Then join 7. Join 7 is a prepaid legal company under the umbrella of the Protection Group. Join 7 is the only group benefit or motor club in the U.S. that offers auto reimbursement coverage, key replacement coverage, roadside assistance, gives you a current Medi-File, prescription savings, and fully encompassed prepaid legal benefits that include identity theft. They got your back. The average combined cost to purchase these benefits individually is over $850 a year. Join today and take advantage of all 7 for $17 a month. They've been around for over 20 years, so check them out by clicking on the banner link on my page, thedougstewartshow.com, or the app. Just go ahead and join 7.
Attention Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. Current prices average between $25 and $35 per pill. Are you searching for an alternative to the high prices you now pay for brand name drugs? We're providing U.S. consumers a low-cost alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for $99 with incredibly fast shipping times. Our phone staff is available right now. And did we mention that shipping is free? Call right now to take advantage of this special offer. 855-781-3847 with discreet home delivery and 100% satisfaction guarantee. What are you waiting for? Call for an affordable alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for only $99. Call 855-781-3847. Speak to a rep about getting a discreet shipment to your home and start saving a ton of money. Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. You can't afford to not call 855-781-3847.
System 5 Electronics is proud to offer my listeners in the Atlanta area the most affordable home security monitoring systems, featuring smart solutions for your busy lifestyle for as low as $16.50 per month. Here's just a few reasons to choose System 5. Not only is their monitoring station located here in Atlanta, but they also install the most advanced, up-to-date alarm systems where you can access cameras, lights, door locks, thermostats, and other devices remotely with your smartphone. 24/7 technical support, plus the lowest service call fees in the business. And check this, you own your security alarm system once it's installed. Not only have they been around for almost 25 years, but their customer service is excellent. And you get direct access to the owner, Mr. Maceo Brown, to resolve any issues with your alarm system. Click on the banner on the Doug Stewart Show website or app for more details, or give them a call at 404-756-0736. Again, that's 404-756-0736. And make sure and tell them the Doug Stewart Show sent you. Yes! Welcome back to the Doug Stewart Show. And it is a Throwback Thursday. Yeah. Shouts out to everybody in the chat room. The chat room is on fire. Everybody talking about these Wrastlers, having a little fun with that today on the Doug Stewart Show. Appreciate that. So, one correction. I said that the black sheriff from the town next to Hazard County was Pickens County. I believe it was Chickasaw County. It was Chickasaw County, but we're going to read more of your chat here in a second. You can email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. You can also give me a call at 404-382-0338. The chat room is just the thing. I mean, so follow me on Spreaker and then jump on the chat. But right now, joining me on the Doug Stewart Show phone line is my little bubba, Ryan Evan Stewart. What up, sir?
What's the deal, sir? How's it going, man?
Man, it's going fantastic. How you doing? I ain't even seen you in a couple of it's probably been over a month. Last time I seen you, we were in Columbia for some family business, but what's going on?
Yeah, whenever the weather's not good, man, we typically don't see each other because we see each other when it comes down to me beating you in that golf course, sir. That's what it is, man.
Yeah. Speaking
of, I got a quick question for you real quick, man.
Oh, here we go.
Have you ever wondered why you never see hippopotamus hiding in a tree, man?
No. Yeah, I have wondered that before.
You know why, man?
Why?
Because they're really good at it. Hey, listen, you got a real problem here, man. You're part of the reason why the sissification of America exists. You're telling people that's listening to your show not to let their kids put other kids in the figure four. That's not the world that we grew up in, man. That's why these kids are soft today, man.
Well, that's a good point. But listen, I mean, being the guy on the receiving end of many of figure fours, I mean, don't you agree with that? Huh?
No. Listen, being put in the figure four, being put and held in the cobra clutch, being bent back like I'm some type of person that has no bones in their body, that's what made me the person that I am, sir.
Okay.
Those things taught me to be able to do that to others and make sure that those things weren't being done to me. These kids need to experience that. These kids need to have some tough times. These kids need to figure out how to get out of the figure four from being like choked within an inch of their life. These kids have to have these little bit of adversities that come with life, Doug.
Now listen, and for people that are listening and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, I got Ryan Stewart on the line with me. For people that are familiar with wrestling and wrestling moves, the only way to get out of the figure four is you have to flip over. You have to flip over it, and then you magically can get out. Speaking of defending yourselves, and I've seen a lot of your stuff on Twitter and Facebook, man. My nephews, man, you are training my nephews to be solid cold ninjas. Not just ninjas figuratively, but ninjas literally. Talk about that, man.
Listen, man, and I'm not trying to stick my chest out here, but I am a proud father of two live little stews, man. And if there's anything that I want these boys to be, man, it's smart when it comes to their education and making decisions, man. And I want them to be tough and ready to kick anybody's ass that tries to step to them.
Right.
It's very important. It's very important that these kids at a young age can literally kick ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
I agree.
So they're training right now in karate already. They're both very good. And you know Joe Santiago, man, used to come on the show to do some boxing with us.
Right.
Next month, they're going to start seeing him a couple times a week to get that boxing down with the sweet science.
What?
I really want them to be able to be nice with their hands if people try them in these streets, Doug.
Right. Talking to Ryan Stewart right now, the Doug Stewart Show. So wait a minute. You going to let these kids at their young ages take some boxing lessons too, sir?
Yeah, man. Yeah, and there's a real serious reason for the madness, man. I got a few huge announcements coming up in a couple of weeks, man, and I'm probably going to hopefully be allowed to talk about on your show, man.
Uh-huh.
I'm out in L.A. right now trying to get a couple of things done. You've taken a couple of trips up here, too, so there's some things that I'll be talking about soon, man, and you understand why the two last students are going through this rigorous training process at the age of 3 and 5. You get it when I make a few announcements.
Right. Finishing up with Ryan Stewart right now, the Doug Stewart Show on the Stewart Media Network.
Can I say something real quick, man, to people I'm talking about, man?
Of course.
This whole Des Bryant situation in Dallas, man.
Yeah.
If there was a video that's more scathing than the video of Ray Rice, it would not have been able to be held from the people seeing.
That's what I'm saying.
2015.
Yeah.
It's 2015. If there's a freaking video, the video is out because everybody wants to be the first people to drop it. So this is nothing more than Jerry Jones and the Dallas Cowboys trying to pin him in a corner and knock him down when it comes to these checks, man. That's all this is about. People aren't talking about that.
You think so?
Yes.
Now, I said the same thing in as much words over the last couple of days because I just don't believe it once again. Now, we could be absolutely wrong, but I tend to agree with you. Yeah, man. Stuff gets out. I mean, you know how this thing works, man. Stuff gets out, and everybody is groveling to be the first person to have 5 million hits to your website because you've got this video. So you think it would not have been able to be held this freaking long. So you think this is kind of like a negotiation tactic where they're going to justify to the fans that we're not going to pay him this amount of money because he's a bad seed. He might not even be a football player at some point because of his character. This is the best way to tear him down and get them to write a check that's comfortable for them and to make others wary of signing him if they can't get him to take the check that they're willing to offer. Yeah. That's all this is, man. Yeah, the kid has had 5 or 6 situations where the cops have been to his crib in the past few years. We didn't know about it then, right? Why is it coming out now? I'll tell you why. Because Jerry wants to tag him to find a way to have him for another year and to get Murray under contract. This is business, and Jerry's using some of the best business-minded people when it comes to doing this stuff. So that's what's going on. Finishing up with Ryan Stewart right now, the Doug Stewart Show on the Stewart Media Network. All right, man, so let me run a couple things by you. Your New York Knicks. I mean, you said you're a New York Knicks fan. Your New York Knicks, and in particular, Phil Jackson dissing the team on Twitter and Carmelo Anthony saying his knees are bad, but he plays 30 minutes in an All-Star game. Explain that. We're being torn down to be built up, man. And it's part of that psychology was getting Melo to stay.
Some people are questioning that. I'm never going to question having one of the best shooters in today's game on my team. I'm sorry. So we're dumping salary, getting rid of money, getting rid of Mari, all the other stuff. A lot of young talent's going to be free agents. A lot of young talent's coming out. We're making plays for the next wave of the New York Knicks, sir. I feel bad. It's not cool to have your team have the worst record in the NBA, man.
They suck.
And I was hoping you wouldn't bring this up. I really was.
All right. Go ahead.
It's not cool, man, but we're building down to bring back up, man. That's all we're doing.
All right, your favorite guy, and I know you've heard the show a couple of times. I don't know how consistently you listen, but I've come full circle on LeBron James. I'm now a fan again. This is a guy that you're a big fan of. Do you think that the Cleveland Cavaliers, and talk a little bit about the Hawks too, but who do you like in the East, and do you think Cleveland's the team to beat in the East?
Because of the addition of Mozgov for the Cleveland Cavaliers, I think they are the big dogs in the East. Even though the Hawks deserve to be talked about as the big dog right now. What the Hawks have done, man, is
it's incredible.
Yeah. Here's my point. I love having a superstar. I love having a big three. But what I like even more in the game of basketball is having 7 to 8 guys that's going to come on the floor that are talented and that all stretched 100% of their talents to do what the coach is asking them to do to play good basketball. That's why I like this Hawks team. But that being said, the big dog in the NBA is still LeBron James. If anybody doubts that or says otherwise, they're not being realistic and they're not looking at the facts. So he has an incredible team around him now out there in Cleveland. And even though the Hawks have the second best record in the NBA behind Golden State, I think they will represent and get an opportunity to play for what counts. But until somebody dethrones LeBron James with the crew he's got right now, that's the way I'm leaning for it, sir.
You an Empire fan, man? You watch the Empire show?
As of last week, I started watching the Empire, man. It's a black young in the Wrastlers.
Yeah, it's good. It's pretty good.
Terrence Howard is Victor Newman reincarnated as a black man in 2015. I love it. It is awesome.
Hey, last thing before I let you get out. Well, two things. First, before the last question I ask you.
Hey, man, how come you don't be calling me and asking me to come on the show, man?
Yeah, right.
I mean, listen, this is your show, man, and you know, you should. It sounds great. I really thank you for saving what was known as sports talk radio. You know, I get pissed off when I can't be connected to Wi-Fi so I can listen for free because I ain't got no money to spend these days. But yeah, man, how come you don't invite me on the show, man?
Yeah, sure. I called you 4 times in a row to come on the show, and this day is field trips. This day I'm traveling. This day I'm speaking, and that's good. It's cool. You're busy.
I'll be on daddy duty, boy.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with that. All right, these last two questions before I let you go.
All right.
Top 5 wrestlers of all time. Who's your favorite wrestler of all time?
The Junkyard Dog, man. I took a liking to him, and I knew you were gonna laugh. I took a liking to him because we used to go down to County Hall, man, down in Charleston to watch them cats wrestle, man. And I think we got to meet him and shake his hand or be in the ring with him.
No, that wasn't the Junkyard Dog. That was Bad Leroy Brown.
That's what I meant to say. Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Because the Junkyard Dog wasn't prominent back then. You're talking about another big black wrestler, and it was Bad Leroy Brown. Bad Leroy
Brown, Junkyard Dog. All the black wrestlers back in the day used to get their ass beat anyway, so it didn't matter. But I connected with him because I met him and shook his hand.
All right, and last thing, I want to go out like this. Last thing, man. What are your thoughts on your boy Dwight Howard grabbing another man's testicles for the world to see?
They can't have someone of a coming out party, sir.
Wait a minute. You think that was – no. You really think he –
Look, man, there's a few Caucasian brothers in middle school that would tap each other on the penis, man.
Yeah, it was a cup check. They used to call it a cup check. Okay? Yeah, and that wasn't cool. We didn't like that
middle
either.
Schoolers. No, it's not cool. No, it's middle schoolers. Don't no 27, 28, 30-year-old man place his hand on anybody's crotch and hold it there for any amount of time.
Right.
For no reason in the world.
Right.
And in return, the dude that's getting his crotch held by said man allows said man to keep his hand on his crotch. What in the hell, man? It's the sissification of America, and I cannot stand it, sir.
Unbelievable.
I can't stand it. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, he lost some cool points forever for that, man. I'm sorry.
I'm disappointed.
Yeah.
You know I like the guy.
Right.
You know his family, his people was listening to the show back when we were on in ATL. But I am disappointed, man. That should never be done. It shouldn't be done, man.
That's what's up, man. Well, man, thank you so much for coming on, sir.
That's why the 2 live little Stews are under rigorous training so they'll never be caught holding one man's penis. That won't even be a thought process of their mind. They can't even formulate that. I'm going to put my hand on this guy's midsection. That's why I do what I do every day, man.
That's what's up. Hey, man, thanks for the time, sir.
Have me back on, man, sometime soon.
Yeah, sure, okay. There he is. Ryan Stewart right there on the Doug Stewart Show. And there you have it. There you have it. Yeah. I mean, that might have been the biggest, I don't know, violation of man law in the history of the world. And my younger brother, he agrees. All right, when we get back from the break, stay tuned. I'm going to play that Ric Flair interview. That's just classic Ric Flair, honoring the great Ric Flair on his birthday, 66 years old. Don't go away. This is the Doug Stewart Show. First of all, thank you for listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there, all right? That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes!
Attention Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. Current prices average between $25 and $35 per pill. Are you searching for an alternative to the high prices you now pay for brand name drugs? We're providing U.S. consumers a low-cost alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for $99 with incredibly fast shipping times. Our phone staff is available right now. And did we mention that shipping is free? Call right now to take advantage of this special offer. 855-781-3847 with discreet home delivery and 100% satisfaction guarantee. What are you waiting for? Call for an affordable alternative. Our current special is 50 pills with free shipping for only $99. Call 855-781-3847. Speak to a rep about getting a discreet shipment to your home and start saving a ton of money. Viagra, Levitra, and Cialis users. You can't afford to not call 855-781-3847.
The Doug Stewart Show.
The place where the real players play.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service.
The Doug Stewart Show.
That's a brand name. Like Pepsi, that's a brand name. I stand behind it. I guarantee it.
The Doug Stewart Show.
If you ain't stewing, what the hell are you doing? Yeah! You promised yourself you were going to take better care of your health this year, right? Here's a great place to start with Meds from Nature. MedsFromNature.com sells homeopathic medicines for consumers looking for safe, natural, and effective alternative health products. You then say, Stu, what's homeopathy? Then I'd say it's the safe, gentle, and natural system of healing that works with your body to relieve symptoms, restore itself, and improve overall health. Meds from Nature sells the top natural medicines with no side effects, and they're also FDA regulated. Unlike supplements or herbs over the counter, they have a lower cost per dose than prescription medicines, prices lower than Whole Foods, plus use promo code SPORTS and get an extra 25% off. Shipping and handling charges kept to a minimum, then they safely pack and quickly ship the products to their customers. So, check them out at MedsFromNature.com and get your health in check for 2015. Yes!
Here you go, you're in constant demand. And I say, honey, because I'm the world's heavyweight champion. Now, for a lot of you people out there, that's a real hard nut to swallow. A lot of you don't like that. You don't like the prestige that I have in life. You don't like the notoriety. You detest the fact that I got more cars than most of you have friends. I got a big house on the big side of town. I got life pretty much the way I want it. You understand that? You know why? Because I'm the champ. I'm the world's heavyweight wrestling champion. Dale Murphy, right? A local here in Atlanta, Georgia. He's a big deal, but he's not the champ. You understand that? Herschel Walker, for all you black folks out there, he's a real big dude, but he's not the champ. Ric Flair's the champ. Understand? Me and Lex Luger, you, Ted Turner, Dusty Rhodes, Nikita Koloff, Ricky Morton, Steve Williams, all of you, take a look at it. Learn to love it, because it's a role model for you. I'm the champ. That's the bottom line in this sport of sports. I'm the champ. Custom made, kid stealing, wheeling dealing, and Luger, wherever this match takes place, God only knows, you've got to beat the champ. Woo!
I'm actually crying in the studio right now. I am actually shedding a tear. That's the great Ric Flair, baby. It doesn't matter in this sport of sports, because I'm the champ. Dusty Rhodes, Lex Luger. Woo! Oh, man, I love that man so much. This is the Doug Stewart Show, and this is a Throwback Thursday. Wow, you just heard one of the greatest interviews in the history of interviews in wrestling, the great Ric Flair talking about Dale Murphy. I guess he was in Atlanta. You're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I guess he was in Atlanta. He talked about Dale Murphy. You might be big, but you're not the champ. Herschel Walker. All the black people out there might like you, but you are not the champ. And not many people could get away with that. Okay? But the Nature Boy could. Ric Flair could get away with it because he was the champ. He was the champ. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at Doug@theDougStewartShow.com. Having a lot of fun today, as we do every single day. Speaking of which, man, if you're a new listener to the Doug Stewart Show, I need you to pass the word. I need you to tell at least one person about the livest, the realest, the trillest, the most unfiltered, the most fun sports talk show in America, the Doug Stewart Show. This is what we do every single day. Now, there's not a lot of big sports stories out there, so then what we do is we adapt. We talk guy stuff. You know, we talk sports, but we talk guy stuff too, and fun stuff like this top 5 wrestlers of all time, and in honor of the great Ric Flair. Number 5 on my list was Tony Atlas. Number 4, the great Wahoo McDaniels. Number 3, Dusty Rhodes. Coming in at number 2, and this says a lot because he's the only WWE/WWF guy on my list. Coming in at number 2 is The Rock. Can you smell what The Rock is cooking? I mean, just fantastic. And really, this is one of those type of things where to pay homage to, somebody of my youth, it could be an argument for who gave the best interview, I think, between The Rock and Ric Flair. But Ric Flair is going to be number 1 in my heart. Obviously, obviously you can tell I'm just a big fan of the Nature Boy, but The Rock ain't too far behind. I mean, if you go back and Google and look at some of his interviews on YouTube, I mean, his delivery was just fantastic. He grew up in a wrestling family. His daddy wrestled too. And so he grew up in a wrestling family, so he understood the personality side of it. And really the biggest personalities are the guys that hold the belts in wrestling. They are. And so The Rock, I guess he understood that whole showmanship thing. And so he comes in at number 2 as far as my favorite top 5 wrestlers of all times. Yeah. And that's saying a lot. I put The Rock over a lot of great wrestlers from yesteryear, man. And obviously you know who my number one is. I can go ahead and just throw that out there right now. But it is Ric Flair, the Nature Boy. And nobody took flamboyancy to that level or to that height than Ric Flair. And you're talking about the robes, the custom-made clothes, the glasses, the blonde, long hair. I guess that was in style. And just smack-talking beyond smack-talking. And you can really tell that Dusty Rhodes and The Rock and Ric Flair, they had a lot of urban, let's call it that. That's the politically correct word. They had a lot of black influences. They had a lot of black influences growing up because them dudes were just cool. All three of them dudes were just cool. All right, in the famous words of the great Stuart Scott, as the other side of the pillow. I mean, them three dudes right there were just cool as hell. So Ric Flair, number one, man, and just the greatest ever, the absolute greatest ever. Don't let me forget, somebody hit me on the chat line, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Somebody hit me on the chat line and make sure that in the last segment I kind of run down my honorable mention list, because my honorable mention list is fantastic too, and it's going to make you reminisce as well. 404-382-0338. You can also email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. I mentioned it earlier, didn't get a chance to talk about it. Had Ryan on in the last segment. But LeBron James, there's a story out there right now, and you've seen the video, LeBron James' son playing Little League basketball. And the kid looks like a baller. But LeBron has come out and said that somebody asked him a question, and he says, quote, yeah, he's already got some offers from colleges. He told CBS Detroit before the Cleveland Cavaliers matchup against the Detroit Pistons on Tuesday, it's pretty crazy. It should be a violation. You shouldn't be recruiting 10-year-old kids. Now, you know what this is. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. You know what this is. This is, first of all, the kid looks pretty good, but he's 10 years old. You don't know what's going to happen in the next 7 or 8 years before he gets to college basketball. You don't know. He might lose interest. He might want to be a painter. He might just scrap basketball altogether. You don't know. So it's ridiculous, this notion of sending a 10-year-old kid a recruiting letter. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. But the kid can play, but you don't know what's going to happen down the road. So I think that is ridiculous in itself. But you know what it is. I mean, he's LeBron James' kid, and you can only imagine the pressure he has on him right now. And so if you're a college basketball program, having LeBron James' brand attached to your program, you know, LeBron shows up for a game in December to your kid, or, you know, playing or whatever. I mean, we get that. I mean, this hype and this branding. I don't know if I don't really know the story behind these offers. Like, are these real offers? Are they expecting, or can they sign LeBron's 10-year-old son right now and, he be committed to playing for said university 8 years from now? I don't know. But the whole thing is ridiculous, and I'm glad to see LeBron came out with this statement saying that, you know, it's ridiculous and they shouldn't be recruiting no 10-year-old kids. And I've seen and I know some of these parents that take this little league sports, and I've talked about this before, to just a ridiculously stupid, silly level, you know, and prognosticating these kids. You ever see these videos on YouTube of these he's the number one rated 8-year-old in the country? What? I mean, this kid might stop growing. This kid might not be, I guess they're expecting LeBron's kid to be LeBron, reincarnated. Like, they're expecting him to be 6'9" and 250 pounds and be able to run the 40 in 4.4 seconds. That's probably not going to happen. Like, LeBron James is such an anomaly that is unbelievable. So, you trying to project a 10-year-old kid to what he's going to be like in 7 or 8 years is just ridiculous to me. Wait a minute. We got some breaking news. Running back Adrian Peterson has been reinstated after a judge rules in the NFLPA lawsuit against the NFL on Peterson's behalf. There you have it. Yes. Did y'all like my little breaking news sounder? Yes. So Adrian Peterson has been reinstated in the NFL Players Association, and Peterson, they win one. I mean, I love that. That's right. He's been reinstated. So, obviously, I'm going to get more details on this and find out, the ins and outs of the story. But you know me. I am anti-establishment in a lot of these situations and these conversations, man. And so, not a fan of Roger Goodell. Said that many, many times. And I always like to see the players win. I always do. So that's some good stuff, man. Congratulations to Adrian Peterson. That's what's up. All right, when we get back from the break, 2 hours just like that. That's how we do it around here on the Doug Stewart Show. Real sports talk, real opinions, real guy talk. When I get back, I'm going to run through my honorable mention wrestlers, favorite wrestlers of all time. I'll try to read some more chat, and we'll finish up today's show, all right? Don't go away. This is the Doug Stewart Show. You promised yourself you were going to take better care of your health this year, right? Here's a great place to start with Meds from Nature. MedsFromNature.com sells homeopathic medicines for consumers looking for safe, natural, and effective alternative health products. You then say, Stu, what's homeopathy? Then I'd say it's the safe, gentle, and natural system of healing that works with your body to relieve symptoms, restore itself, and improve overall health. Meds from Nature sells the top natural medicines with no side effects, and they're also FDA regulated. Unlike supplements or herbs over the counter, they have a lower cost per dose than prescription medicines, prices lower than Whole Foods, plus use promo code SPORTS and get an extra 25% off. Shipping and handling charges kept to a minimum. Then they safely pack and quickly ship the products to their customers. So check them out at medsfromnature.com and get your health in check for 2015. Yes! First of all, thank you for listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that we've grown exponentially over the first couple of months. Whether that's listens, whether that's followers, we're blowing up, and you can be a part of it. If you have a company out there and you like to promote on the Doug Stewart Show, we'd love to partner with you. Here's what you do. Email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Once again, that's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Whether that's locally, regionally, or nationally, we can get the word out. What you're talking about is middle-aged dudes that love sports and love exciting sports talk. Once again, email me at doug@thedougstewartshow.com. That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com, and we will put you out there, all right? That's doug@thedougstewartshow.com. Let's do some business. Yes! Fantasy sports fans are winning huge cash prizes every day at DraftKings.com, America's favorite place to play daily fantasy sports. Daily fantasy means no season-long commitments. Play whenever you want. Just pick your sport and draft your team. It's like a new season every time you play, so you're never stuck with the same players. Last year, $300 million were won at DraftKings.com, and you could be next to win big. Go to DraftKings.com now and enter promo code STU to play for free. That's STU for free entry now at DraftKings.com. Also, if you use promo code STU, DraftKings will match your initial deposit up to $600. Deposit $600, play with $1,200. DraftKings.com, promo code STU. If you're not stewing, what in the hell are you doing? This is the Doug Stewart Show. And shouts out to everybody tuning in today, man. Pass the word. I mean, it's going to happen at some point. This is going to be the biggest sports talk show in America. Not just on TV or online, all together. All right, so help us get to that point. We are already the biggest, but we want to be officially the biggest. Yeah, the number to the show is 404-382-0338. You still got a couple minutes to get in. All day long we've been talking about these little sports stories, but we also been talking about the top 5 wrestlers of all time, and I already gave you my list. Number 5 was Tony Atlas. Number 4, Wahoo McDaniels. Number 3, Dusty Rhodes. Number 2, The Rock. And number 1 was the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. And, man, on days like today when we have a real super interesting, fun topic, I mean, it's too much chat to read. And I've said this before. We can literally do a show just where I talk and respond to chat. And maybe we'll do something like that at some point. We've been talking about a lot of different things we're looking to try to implement, adding another hour, Dougie After Dark, all kind of stuff, man. We're trying to really push this network possibility to expand that. So there's a lot of stuff we're doing, man. So just help your boy grow and pass the word. Let me quickly give you, and I'm going to read some more chat before I get out of here. And you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Let me quickly read my honorable mention Wrastlers. Mr. Perfect, Paul Orndorff. You remember Mr. Perfect? Andre the Giant. Now, Andre the Giant goes way back to mid-'70s. But Andre the Giant, as well as Blackjack Mulligan. You remember Blackjack Mulligan? He was kind of like this cowboy theme, and he wore a big-ass black hat. And I guess he was a bad guy because, the bad guys wear black. That's what they'll tell you. And so Blackjack Mulligan makes my list as honorable mentions as well. Roddy Piper, I mentioned him a little bit earlier. Bad Leroy Brown, who my brother confused with the Junkyard Dog, another big black wrestler. I mean, I don't know why he do that. You remember King Valiant? You remember King Valiant, a.k.a. the Boogie Woogie Man? Yes. Oh, man. And me and my brother actually got to see Bad Leroy Brown and King Valiant. He was either King Valiant, and this is one of those situations where they changed his character. And at one point, he was King Valiant. And then another point, he was the Boogie Woogie Man. And so we saw him at Charleston County Hall, Charleston, South Carolina, back in like 1978, 79 or something like that, man. Our old man took us out there, and it was just fantastic. He actually took us to Charleston County Hall probably 3 or 4 times, but that was the biggest match that I remember is Junkyard Dog, or not Junkyard Dog, Bad Leroy Brown and the Boogie Woogie Man getting it on. Arn Anderson, remember from the Anderson brother fame, Arn Anderson was like the nephew. But before Arn, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show, and I'm giving you a history lesson in wrestling today for all of the greenhorns that are listening. You remember Arn was the nephew of Ole and Gene Anderson. Now, I'm taking you real back on this. You remember Ole and Gene, they were like the number 1 tag team partners in wrestling at that time. You're talking 75, 76. And it was Ole, and he was the more prominent one. And then there was his brother Gene. Now, if you remember back then, if Ole and Gene got into trouble, okay, and they were about to lose a match, what Gene would do was he would stick his head across the top rope, and Ole would run their opponent into them head to head. And it would clear knock Gene out. He would like fall off the side of the ring and he'd be knocked out cold. And then Arn or Ole would go and pin the guy who was knocked out as well. They used to call it sacrificing. That's right. Oh my gosh. And Tony Schiavone, oh my gosh, Ole, you sacrificed your own brother. And then Ole would do the interview. Yeah, but we had to do what we had to do to win that match. And he'll be okay. He'll be okay. Tony Schiavone. Ole, what kind of person would sacrifice his own brother's health to win a wrestling match? Me, I would do it. That's right. The Anderson brothers do whatever we have to do to win. And if it means sacrificing my little brother Gene, I'll do it. Yes. Yes. I'm telling you, look it up. I don't know if you can find any of that footage on YouTube, but it was incredible. He used to sacrifice his little brother's health, headbutt him with another guy. His brother would sacrifice his head just to win a wrestling match. That's when wrestling was wrestling. Randy Savage, the Macho Man. I mentioned Ricky Steamboat as well. You know somebody I don't have on my list, and I've seen a lot of people mention this guy, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. I don't have Hulk Hogan on my list, man. Shut up. It's my list. Shut up. Shut up. It's my list. You know why? I never liked Hulk Hogan, man. I always looked at Hulk Hogan as the fakest part of wrestling. The fakest fake part of wrestling, I looked at Hulk Hogan. His whole shtick, and what was he, Thunder Lips in the Rocky movie, and he just seemed like fake. I don't know why. I never was a Hulk Hogan fan, and I know a lot of people argue that he was probably the biggest name in wrestling. He fought some of the biggest bouts in wrestling. But I never was a Hulk Hogan fan. I never was. And I know a lot of you like him and you love him, but he didn't make my list. My list is solid. My list is real, real solid. Tony Atlas, Wahoo McDaniels. This is my favorite wrestlers of all time. Dusty Rhodes, The Rock, and Ric Flair. Yes, sir. Let me read some of this chat here, and you're listening to the Doug Stewart Show. Throwback Thursday. Younger brother, remember Greg Valentine breaking Dusty Rhodes' leg in the figure four? I had my little brother howling after I saw that move. Exactly. That's what I mentioned earlier. From Rel Scott. I put my neighbor in the Cobra Clutch when we were like 12. Almost tore his arm out of socket. Never liked that dude. With your brother? Yeah, you like Ole Anderson. You sacrifice your little brother for a wrestling move? Real people music. Doug, anyone who says that they don't like wrestling because it's fake, they are hypocrites, because we like karate movies and action movies, but all that is just fake too. It's easy to be fake on tape, but hard as hell to make a fight look real on TV live. We all love fake fighting. Yeah, you're right. As dudes, we all love fake fighting. Yeah. Like, do you think really Bruce Lee could beat the average dude on the street back when he was kicking ass on film? Like, Bruce Lee was, 110 pounds? Yeah, I mean, he might have been tough, and he might have knew what pressure points to hit, but if he's wrestling a 270-pound guy that's got great agility, like, Bruce Lee couldn't beat J.J. Watt. I'm sorry. J.J. Watt would take 5 punches just to grab Bruce Lee's little ass, and I love Bruce Lee. I'm the biggest Bruce Lee fan in the world, but he don't want none of nobody like J.J. Watt or David Clowney. That just doesn't work. From Harold Archie. I remember when Roddy Piper busted damn coconut on Superfly Snooker's head. Somebody else said that same thing earlier. James, the big truck driver. Stone Cold did talk some junk, but with them knees, he was like a white Fred G. Sanford. That's funny. Yeah. Stone Cold was struggling to walk into the ring. Jose Negron. Doug, then Stone Cold and The Rock should be 1 and 2. They took wrestling to the next level as far as any interview and talking ish. Not like Ric Flair. Come on, man. Are you crazy? They were good. Once again, The Rock was pretty damn good. The Rock was damn good. But he wasn't better than no Ric Flair. From Chico to Alpha. I love Rick too, but I always love the Ultimate Warrior. Ooh, I didn't have the Ultimate Warrior on my list. I should have, man. William Mack. Flair named his junk Space Mountain. Laugh out loud. Dude is the GOAT. Doug, do you remember when Flair was in the plane crash? That's right. Ric Flair actually was in a plane crash, which I believe everybody else on the plane died, one of those small prop planes. Everybody else died, and Rick broke his back. And, like, he was out of wrestling for, like, 6 months, and then it was like a miracle. He came back healed, and he was fine. And so, yeah, man, Ric Flair, real tumultuous life. Can you imagine the life that Ric Flair has seen? Let me go ahead and grab a call before we get out of here. Caller, thanks for calling the Doug Stewart Show. What's your name? Where you calling from? What you want to talk about?
What it is, D. Stu.
What's up? Who's this?
It's Jersey, man. I'm glad you had my partner on, man, because if anybody gonna handle you besides me about them Knicks, Ron ain't gonna do that.
Hey, Vern, your Knicks suck. Even though I had your favorite stew online, your Knicks suck. Vern, as a matter of fact, Vern, listen, wait, Vern, listen, Vern. Yes, Vern, your Knicks still suck. Even though your favorite Stu Ryan came on and tried to paint a positive picture, they still suck. All right, your Knicks still suck. And they suck lemons. They suck eggs. Yeah. They suck bad things. That's right. Yo Knicks, Vern. Yo Knicks. Call up here with that crap. I'm glad Ryan called up and Ryan can speak some sense to you about the New York Knicks. No, he can't. Whatever, Vern. Whatever. Hey, man. I got one question for you, man. Are you not entertained? Woo! Are you not entertained, man? Thank you so much for joining me on the Doug Stewart Show today. And, man, we do it again tomorrow, every single day, Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Now, this is a day, I mean, we literally could have another hour every day, and that's going to come at some point. But today is really a day we could have read 1,000 more chat messages. I think we broke a record for chat today. And continue to talk about these wrestlers and reminisce. So, I mean, it's coming. Stay tuned. It's coming. A lot of big things coming for the Doug Stewart Show and the Stewart Media Network. So, stay tuned. Stay tuned. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me today on the Doug Stewart Show. Shouts out to all of the Stewies, the dogs and the poodles. Thank you, Tree, for all that you did today. Shouts out to my man, Waterhead Walter. Thank you, Walter, for what you did today as well and making this show happen. Dwayne Bassan, Gerald Oliveri, thank y'all so much for doing what y'all do. Yes, sir. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same Doug Stewart time, same Doug Stewart channel. Peace.